Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? Okay, my damn green screen does not want to work with my glasses. And I need my glasses to read my notes, but look what happens. You all might have to put up with that because I be blind. But maybe if I drink a little more, I'll see better. Now, I didn't get to do this show Sunday night just because we had an LNC meeting. It was late. I didn't get to watch the Dragon Show till 10 o'clock my time. So it's tonight. It's tonight. But I'm kind of glad I waited because I listened to some of the big brain fan shows and they gave me some insights that actually made me enjoy the episode a lot more. But before we get started, along the bottom, patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. I could truly use your support. Those of you who, I know not all of my audience here is Libertarian Party people, but if you are, and you've seen the shit that's going on, the way things are blowing up, it's all hands on deck at the national level to get shit done. And the more ways I can earn income outside of being chained to a cubicle, the more things I can do. So if you support my viewpoint and the work I do fighting for member rights, and you can afford it, and you feel like it, all voluntary, please consider supporting my Patreon. And with that advertisement, I can hear a ree coming out of Virginia. We're going to deal with everything that's going on in the LNC on Friday. Not till then. Or as my t-shirt says, Not today, Satan. Yeah, I'm not wearing a bra. I probably shouldn't have did that. I was a bit jiggly. Oh well. Not today, Satan. I'm not wearing a bra today. Now, this video is definitely not getting monetized since I went right to boobs. Okay? I went right to shaking my money makers. So, speaking of shaking my money makers, all super chats matter. And yeah, let's just get on though with the dragons. Really slightly embarrassed right now. I deal with embarrassment and pain by humor. Okay, so the dragon show. I have such mixed emotions. I'm gonna say all the negative things first, and then we'll get into the meat of it, because I have to tell you, I like the show better today than when I watched it. But that's not necessarily a good thing. It's usually a good thing to like something and then like it more when you think about it. But I have to tell you, when I'm watching it, I find it somewhat boring. It is not, the pacing is bad. The pacing is, at least for me, your mileage may vary, because I'm listening to all these big brain fans and they're all in love with it, but I think because they're so invested in the franchise. Like, if there was some book that I was like super into, I would probably like any halfway decent show on it. But for mass popular appeal, I think a lot of people will find it boring because the pacing is too damn slow. And I've read the book. And I'm not like a super fan, but I'm a fan. So I know a lot of the backstory. I know some of the arcana and trivia. And I've watched like the Game of Thrones series, even the shitty seasons. Don't kill me. I didn't hate season 8. Probably, no lie, about 150 times. Like, I know that from like the back of my hand. Like, I'm a fan, okay? And I expected to love this. I expected it to be like Game of Thrones, where I couldn't wait until the next week. I have to tell you, if it got canceled tomorrow, I wouldn't cry. I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. However, in listening to some of the big brain people pointing out some of the intricacies in the story that were shown on screen, like maybe I'm just too dumb to pick it up when it's going. I like it better after this stuff has been pointed out to me. But it shouldn't have to be, like, the show suffers from two things to me. And some things, it's try too hard in your face. Like when somebody tells you a joke and then explains the joke and it's like, it's a joke. You get it? You know, like the girl power stuff in it. When Rhaenyra was confronting Daemon on Dragonstone, like that just made me want to stick my finger down my throat and retch, because it was too like, she's a powerful girl. Do you get it? Do you get it? Woman, girl power, Wimexen. You know, I don't care for that. But then other things are so subtle that someone's got to explain it to you. Like that opening sequence, with it being the bloodlines of the Targaryen family. Most people are not going to get that. And apparently a new bloodline was added in the opening sequence of this one. And even knowing what all that's supposed to mean, I didn't get it. That's too obscure. So they suffer from being in your face, blindingly obvious, and then like, you know, like I just said, or too obscure. Okay. I think we can just call this show, though, this last episode, a panache of bad decisions. Wow. Like, okay, but I'm going to read my notes now. And if you don't watch the big, look at this. The green screen software on my streaming program, I think, sucks. Because look at the halo around my head and shit. But, oh well. Look at the dragon looking at you. But if you don't watch the big brain shows, some of these tidbits I hope you find interesting. Because I certainly found them interesting. Okay. So one of them I started watching is like, oh my God, the Easter eggs are so good. And that particular show didn't point out any quote-unquote Easter eggs. However, I like watching Alt-Shift-X, and if you like this show and you don't watch Alt-Shift-X, you should. But he does hours and hours on this, and I'm sorry, this is all I'm doing, like once a week. So, Easter eggs. A lot of what people are calling Easter eggs aren't Easter eggs. Easter eggs are actually those subtle things that you have to look for, but not look too hard. Having that damn dagger, which kind of looks like the cat's paw dagger, but I don't know if it is, with it inscribed with the actual title of a George R.R. Martin book, you know, and his song will be the Song of Ice and Fire, Fire and Ice, or whatever the hell. No, Fire and Ice is a Pat Benatar song, I think, whatever. It's like, that is so cheesy, stupid, in your face, cringe. That's not an Easter egg. That's a Mack truck. Okay? Anglo Doomer, we don't talk LP on the Dragon Show. So tune in Fridays when I do LNC stuff. I need a life outside the LP a little bit. Let me just give you the short answer. They claim to have, but it's illegal. And the 6 or 7 board members that did that will be lucky if they don't get sued and be personally liable for damages. If they have personal assets, I'd be very worried if I were them. Now, not by national. We don't have standing to sue them, but members in Virginia do. And I wouldn't be surprised if what they did is criminal. I don't know that. I don't know the criminal code in Virginia, but they engaged in monetary fraud. So, that's all we're saying about the LP. Friday, though, I'll talk a lot about it. But go check out my Substack. Oh, look, now my glasses are still doing that. Too bad. All right. So, yeah, the new bloodline in the beginning. If y'all didn't catch that, it's for Alicent Hightower's, I guess she's Alicent Targaryen now, her new child, which we kind of saw in the show, a baby girl. Baby girl. All right. Okay, what I do like in the show, and I'm sure some people will like accuse it of being somewhat wokester, is, well, I like it and I don't like it. I like the tension in the story because, you know, it follows the book about the whole thing with no matter what Rhaenyra does, she doesn't have a dangly bit. And without the dangly bit, they're just not going to accept her. It's realistic, and it is causing a lot of tension, and it really makes her a sympathetic protagonist. But when she went out on the town, and oh my God, you put this girl out in the town for a second, and before you know it, she's trying to bone her uncle. Okay. Yeah. The play, that was just too in your face. That dumb play, that was dumb. That made me cringe. That's one of the too obvious. That's the extremes that this show does. But in general, I like that tension. It's kind of like the doomed hero. I've always liked the doomed, I think he was, by the way. We're going to talk about Damon gaining leverage. Damon's one of my favorite characters. I like him a lot better than Rhaenyra, to be honest with you. But I like shows that have like the star-crossed protagonist, doomed from the beginning, and that's kind of Rhaenyra. So I do like that. Okay. Now, also what I like that they've done multiple times, and it borders on being too obvious without crossing that line. It's the way they juxtapose scenes of extremes or scenes of parallels. So like in the first episode, when they juxtaposed the jousting scene, which is the playground battlefield of the men, with the birthing room where she was dying in childbirth, with the assigned battleground of the women. That was excellent in the first episode. And in this episode, the juxtaposing of and okay, it was like, she's so young that it makes it cringe, but still a well done sex scene with Rhaenyra and whatever the hot knight's name is, Chris, whatever, you know I'm not good with names, the hot knight, the hot dark-haired knight, with the absolutely horrid sex between Alicent and Viserys. Like, she was just like, I expected her to be like, if they had a watch for her to go, you done? And he was so gross with all those sores all over his body. Oh, that was painful to watch. And it was meant to be. And the juxtaposing of like good sex with bad sex. That was a good scene. I like that. And I like Daemon with short hair. I always thought the long hair was cringe. I like him much better with short hair. I think the character actually just looks more believable with short hair, because like the angry long-haired blondes, like, it's a bit much. You need some short-haired angry blondes. But Rhaenyra, I know she's supposed to be the protagonist and all that, but she's become, each episode, in my opinion, thoroughly dislikable. Last episode, she was a brat. This episode, she's a lying bitch. The way she lied to Alicent, like, she just uses people. She just uses people. Now, I'm not saying any of the other Targaryens are any better, but she's like supposed to be, again, the protagonist. And sympathetic, you know, with the fact that, you know, no one really wants to accept her because, you know, she don't got the junk. We didn't. Yeah, so I just did not like her lies. I did not like her lies. Okay, but a callback, or a call forward, I guess it is, when they refer to things. I mean, it's called back to a show we watched before, but in the time frame, it's a call forward. I did like the parallel between her and Cersei. So when she's walking through the town and the witch out there offered to give her a prophecy of her death or a prophecy of her future, really did bring to mind Cersei with Maggie the Toad. So I like that. I like that a lot too. Now, with Viserys, and his rotting body. Like, I did like the symbolism of that, because it's the crumbling empire and all that, the king's rotting away. But what Alt-Shift-X pointed out, if you I think it was last episode, he got his fingers amputated, and the rot is spreading throughout his hand, which means he might need to amputate his hand. But what happened symbolically this episode, he amputated his metaphorical hand when he fired Otto Hightower as part of the rot in his kingdom that are devouring his body. That, I did not pick up on that when I watched it. And when Alt-Shift-X pointed this out, I truly, truly appreciated that. That was good subtlety that adds to the richness of the episode. Now, I'm going to give a nitpick here. There's some discontinuity here. So you've got Alicent Hightower, who's a brunette. And you got King Viserys. I know I keep getting into genetics in this show, and y'all go like, get over it. There's dragons, okay? And King Viserys, who's blonde. Genetically speaking, brown is dominant. And usually, unless she's got Targaryen blood or other blondes in her background, a blonde-haired person with a brown-haired person is going to have a brown-haired child, unless the brown-haired person has some of the blonde recessive genes in their background. In fact, wasn't that the whole fucking way they knew that Cersei's children were illegitimate? Because they keep calling the Lannisters blonde, but it's not really, but whatever. Let's just say she's a blonde. And King Robert with the dark hair, but all of her children were blonde. That's how they knew. Why isn't that holding true here? Did anyone else notice that discontinuity? Now, I know Alt-Shift-X did, but I mean, when you were watching it, I've been obsessed with the whole blonde thing throughout this, so I did notice that, because I'm like, what the heck? What the heck? This doesn't make any sense. This is a discontinuity. Again, I don't know the whole lineage of the Hightowers. Maybe there's Valyrian blood or Targaryen blood and their genealogy, and another recessive gene came up. But how many times is it going to come up? Because the daughter's blonde too. So you got a blonde son and a blonde daughter. Those are some mighty powerful blonde genes there. That's not the way it works. That's not the way any of this works. Yeah, so the moon tea. That's a Kafka trap. That's a Kafka trap right there. If she doesn't drink it, it's like admitting that she got a little something something. I mean, if she does drink it. And if she doesn't, then maybe, you know, she's going to have the hot knight's kid. And if you remember from Game of Thrones, that moon tea messed up Lysa Arryn. So there's a health risk here too. So unless she really might think she's got a blonde bun in the oven, you don't really want to just drink that for show, because it can fuck you up. Even though the Maester said he mixed it carefully, it still can mess you up. But sending the moon tea, so Viserys acted like he believed she was still virtuous, but he obviously has his doubts. Obviously has his doubts. And the question got raised by Alt-Shift-X. Okay, obviously Daemon was manipulating Rhaenyra. He took her out, you know, to the flesh market to take advantage of her. He pulled off her hood because he wanted her to be seen. Because he was trying to, like, maybe force where she's disgraced and they had to do the incest thing. But right when she was ready, like she was gonna, you know, she was gonna do the something, he stops. And the question got raised, was he not able to perform? Did he feel guilty? Did he have issues? So why didn't it happen? He obviously wanted it to happen. He's been plotting to marry Rhaenyra ever since he gave her the necklace. So why didn't he do the nasty when he had the opportunity? And then when he was, you know, getting kicked by his brother at the end, why did he lead him to believe they did when he knows damn well they didn't? And why did the kids say they did? Did that little snitch kid believe they did? Because from the little bit he saw? Or was the kid lying? Or did the kid tell the truth because he went and reported it to the White Worm, who's supposed to be protecting Daemon? Did she lie? And why is she informing on Daemon when she said she's counting on Daemon to protect her? Game of Thrones, baby. Reminds me of the LP. Wine. Let me have some wine. So that whole thing I liked. That was very Game of Thrones intriguey. And also what was super cool is the way they kept showing the rats. If you remember, there was a rat, you know, in the dragon's skull when she was sneaking out. And then after Viserys did the deed with Alicent and she looks up over the bed and there's a rat there, it's because there's rats in the kingdom. The Red Keep is infested with rats, and obviously it's infested with rats. Because as Viserys said, all this fucking politicking. I need to make a clip of that for sure. Because I felt his pain. I felt his pain at that point. Yeah, backstabbing, double dealing, and incest. Just like the LP. Yeehaw, codpiece. Okay. That's an inside joke. Those of you who follow the LNC know exactly what I mean by that. Okay. Now, I want to give some props. I actually don't like all the acting in this. I don't think the acting is as good as Game of Thrones. But who I think the two best actors in here are, the guy who plays Otto Hightower is fantastic. Even though he basically pimped out his daughter, he's been scheming the whole time. When he basically got, "You're fired," from Viserys, I felt bad for him. That actor is good. He is good. I mean, the character he's playing is a snake, but that actor is good. And the other actor I really, really like is Alicent Hightower. So the two Hightowers, I think, are doing a superb job. I actually don't think the actress who's playing Rhaenyra, I mean, she's okay, but I don't think it's anything to write home about. But Otto Hightower and Alicent Hightower are fantastic. But let me point out something to you that Alt Shift X pointed out that I thought was great. And it's another juxtaposition. This goes back to last episode. When Viserys killed the White Hart, it's because he was forced to. And it was almost like nobody wanted to be there or have anything to do with it. It was just sad. You know, it was all just to prove a point. I'm the king, I killed the White Hart, you know, type of thing. And they had to, you know, bind the animal with the ropes, you know, the whole thing. So he is forced into killing to symbolically prove he's king and all of that. While Rhaenyra got attacked by the boar And she only killed because she had to. And later on, when a white heart ran across her path, she could have been the lady badass by dragging home the carcass, and she didn't because the animal was doing her no harm. So while Viserys engaged in gratuitous violence to prove his virility or whatever, Rhaenyra didn't. And that was a really good scene, I thought, as well. And I didn't appreciate that when I watched the episode. That's one of the things I appreciated after the fact. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I have to note here. And I'm wondering if we're going to know if she took the moon tea. I want to know that. Oh, going back to Alicent Hightower. What's the deal? Like, if you read the books, you know the clothing of the women is a big deal. That's why you had the greens and blacks, right? With red and black being the Targaryen colors. You notice how she was wearing green for a good portion, but then in that scene where she was sitting on the bench having that sweet little moment with Rhaenyra, she was wearing that red and black. I didn't really like the costuming there. I thought it was a butt ugly dress, but like, it did stand out. It did stand out. So there was a lot more complexity in the episode than I originally thought when I got done watching it last night. But you know, if all this shit needs to be explained, you're not going to keep the average viewer. Now, I'm going to continue to watch it, but I'm not jazzed up about it the way I am Game of Thrones. I was Game of Thrones. I'll probably buy it on iTunes or whatever and watch it a bunch of times just because I like rewatching things. And I particularly just like the whole political intrigue thing because I can make a lot of LP jokes out of it. So I get a lot of mileage out of it. But in general, meh. And I know I'm probably not going to be the most popular person for saying that, but meh. So that's what I have to say on this episode. I'm going to go just scroll through comments and make sure there's nothing I missed. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, if there's anything else, like, you're wondering, like, just to chat about it. To me, what I really like about TV shows that have a big fan base is that it's a communal thing for people who love the show and love the art to just be able to dissect it together. I love that. I love the community aspect. So I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts and rapping with you on this. Oh yeah, Daemon slaughtering the crab guy. That was good. When they dragged him out and his like guts are like all hanging out and shit. That was good. I like that. Again, I like Daemon. I liked when Daemon flew over with the bloodworm and like knocked Rhaenyra's ship. Actually, I'm going to take it back. Daemon is not my favorite character. The bloodworm is my favorite character. That long-necked dragon, he's a badass. I like him. But my favorite human character is Daemon. But my favorite non-human character is definitely the bloodworm. Okay, I think that's it for this evening. I need to go order campaign yard signs and campaign literature, so I'll close with this because I just gotta grift my ass off. I am running for Castle Rock Town Council, District 5. I know some people like supporting libertarian candidates. If you want to support a very bold, principled libertarian candidate, it's Karen for CastleRock.com. I truly appreciate it. Even if you just throw me a few bucks. I'm trying to get a decent fundraising amount before Friday. Why before Friday? Well, one, you know, the closer it gets to election day, the less useful money is. Money's useful in the beginning to front load for the things you need to do. But I've been sent a questionnaire by a group here in Castle Rock that I have a decent chance of getting their endorsement. But one of the things they look at is how much you've raised already. So I'm trying to get a decent number before Friday. But again, Karen for Castle Rock, CARYN, and then the number 4, castlerock.com if you're interested. All right, everyone, I'm going to get going. Tomorrow night, probably going to do LP history because we've still, I know my green screen is really just screwing this up. We've still got a lot to cover. Wednesday, I will be out of pocket. No show on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm not sure what we're going to do Thursday, but Friday is going to be the LNC update. So if you want to get all the juiciness on Virginia or whatever else is going on, you need to tune in on Fridays. The live stream of that is Twitch only. Then I upload the file to YouTube. So you can watch it later on YouTube. But if you want to comment live, Twitch. But Wednesday, I'm going to share what I'm doing. And this is me being a little bit vulnerable, and I figured it probably will open me up to some gross attacks. But you want to know what? I'm very open about my life, and I have found, as a Christian, throughout my life, there's something I called that I'm not the one who invented this. I actually first read about it in that humor book called Stuff Christians Like. But it's it's in reference to prayer circles, but I apply it to every area of my life. And the principle is give the gift of going first. And what that means is the example in the prayer circle he gives. If you're a Christian, you know how awkward those prayer circles are. You all stand in a circle and hold hands and you do this round the circle prayer. And, you know, you're all supposed to be like confessing your sins to each other and all this, and the first person always says something like completely tame, like, I don't pray enough, and it's like, oh, you sinner, you know. So what the guy in Stuff Christians Like says, you know, if you're the first person to pray, do everyone a favor by confessing something real so that everyone else is free to be real too. So like confess if you're, addicted to drugs or something, like confess something that's actually something that needs to be confessed rather than you don't pray enough. Nobody prays enough. So during my life, I've struggled with a lot of things, like depression and severe depression, and it's comorbid with autism, which I also have. And mental health issues are still a source of a lot of shame to people. And I have found throughout my life that when I'm open about that, it frees other people to be open about that. It frees other people to be brave. And I've gotten a lot of really shitty attacks. But you know what? People who attack people for being open about their very human struggles that a lot of us struggle with, they're just shitty people. And I don't care what shitty people think. So, throughout my whole life, I've been on and off antidepressants, and they have a lot of side effects. So I want to share with you what's worked for me. It may not work for you. That got me completely off of antidepressants, and that is ketamine treatment. I know on Facebook there's like ads for Mind Bloom and stuff like that. I don't do that. I actually go to a doctor's office and get an infusion. So it's an IV infusion, but it puts you down for the night. So Wednesday night is my regular ketamine infusion. So that's why I will not be here on Wednesday night. Now I'm sure I'm going to get attacked all over Twitter and whatever, but you want to know what? I don't care, because I know what I just said right now is going to help somebody. So if you struggle with intractable depression, check that out. It might help you. It's expensive, however. It might not help you, but it might. It's been a miracle for me. So, you know, I just figured I wanted to share that with you, and that's why I will not be around on Wednesday, because I'll get that at the end of the day, and I'll be passed out till Thursday morning. All right, everyone, I hope you have an awesome night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye-bye.
Gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business.